Let's dive right in. We're going to explore something really complex today: the deep and honestly often misunderstood link between borderline personality disorder, or BPD, and substance abuse. For so many people, this isn't a choice. It's a war for survival, and it's fought completely in the dark.
And it really all boils down to this one central paradox. It's a question that, from the outside looking in, just doesn't make any sense. Why would someone keep going back to the very thing that is absolutely destroying their life?
You have to wonder, could it be that they're addicted not just to the chemical, but to the chaos itself? That question, it hints at this hidden, internal war, a desperate fight that's going on inside a person's own mind. Okay, so to really get this, we've got to peel back the layers. And the very first layer, the first thing you need to understand, is that this isn't about chasing a good time. It's about a desperate need to escape. This right here, this is the key. It completely flips the script on how we should view this. For a person struggling with BPD, using substances isn't about getting high. It's a frantic, last resort attempt to escape an internal pain that is just unbearable. So what is this pain? Why is it so constant, so overwhelming? Okay, I want you to imagine living with an alarm in your head that you can never, ever shut off. This metaphor really just gets right to the heart of it. For someone with BPD, it's like their emotional system is a faulty fire alarm that's just stuck in the on position, constantly ringing, screaming danger, even when everything is perfectly fine. Now, the clinical term for this is emotional dysregulation. But what does that actually mean? Well, it's not just about feeling things strongly. It's about the inability to turn the volume down. It means a small, everyday feeling of sadness isn't just a mood. It's a tidal wave that feels like it's going to drown you. And this state of being sets up this perfect, devastating trap. Let's just walk through it. It starts with that overwhelming, unbearable pain. So what do? You reach for something, anything, to make it stop. That's step 2, substance use. And for a little while, you get step 3, blessed temporary relief. But when it wears off, you crash, and you're left with an even deeper pain, now piled high with shame and guilt. And just like that, you're right back at step 1, only the pain is even worse now. Okay, let's go a level deeper. Where does this constant state of emergency come from? Well, the answer is in the brain itself, and, more often than not, in a person's history. Just look at this number for a second. 70%. That is a staggering statistic. The vast majority of people diagnosed with BPD have a history of significant trauma, things like abuse or neglect, or just profound instability as a child. And that kind of experience teaches your brain one thing from a very early age: the world is not safe. And that lesson literally rewires the brain's hardware. Your amygdala, that's the fear center, it becomes overactive. It's constantly scanning for threats. At the same time, your prefrontal cortex, the part that handles logic and says, hey, let's calm down and think this through, that part becomes underactive. It's like having a car with the gas pedal jammed to the floor and brakes that barely work. Now, this is where the substances come in and do something really insidious. They hijack this already unbalanced system. They chemically force that screaming amygdala to quiet down. But in doing that, they create a double dependency. One on the drug itself for relief, and another on the intense emotional roller coaster that the brain now sees as normal. So, we've looked at the mechanics inside the brain. But how does that internal chaos spill out into the real world? Well, it builds and builds into something even more destructive: a spiral of shame. This quote from Sarah is it's heartbreakingly honest. I don't drink because I want to party. I drink because I can't stand being me when I'm sober. This isn't about fun. This is about an addiction to escaping yourself. And you can just hear the internal monologue that shame creates. I can't stop. I must be worthless. But listen closely to the fear behind it all. If I get clean, I'll have to face myself, and I can't handle that. The substance has become a shield against self-hatred. And then that internal shame creates external consequences. The substance use damages relationships, pushes friends and family away. And for the person with BPD, every person who leaves feels like concrete proof of what they've always feared. See, I am broken. I am unlovable, which of course just fuels that desperate need for another escape. Now, I know this all sounds incredibly hopeless, but it's not. It's really not. The second half of this war is all about learning how to stop running. It's about learning how to stay. But here's the thing, the path to healing has this common, dangerous trap. So many traditional treatment models say, get sober first, then we'll deal with the BPD. But that's like telling someone who's drowning in the middle of the ocean to take off their life jacket before you teach them how to swim. It's backwards. You have to treat the addiction and the underlying pain at the exact same time. So what actually works? Well, it's about building a whole new emotional toolkit. Therapies like DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, they're not about just erasing bad habits. They're about learning brand new skills for emotional survival. It means learning to spot your triggers before they explode, using physical grounding techniques to calm that fire alarm in the moment, and maybe the hardest but most important skill of all, slowly replacing that pattern of self-hate with a little bit of self-compassion. You know, recovery hardly ever starts with some big, dramatic, movie-like moment. More often than not, it begins with this quiet, exhausted whisper, "I'm tired of escaping myself." It's that moment when the desire to actually live becomes just a little bit stronger than the fear of feeling. So let's bring this all together. If you hear nothing else, hear this. This fight has never, ever been about loving a substance. It has always been about hating the pain. The substance abuse is a messy, tragic, but profoundly human attempt to simply survive. And that's exactly why recovery is never a straight line. The goal isn't perfection, it's persistence. The real victory, the true healing, begins on the day a person decides to just stay, to face the storm, even when it hurts. I just want to leave you with this final thought, because it really captures the incredible courage this takes. Sometimes the strongest people are the ones who fight it every single day and still choose to stay alive. It's a war of survival, and choosing to stay, day in and day out, is the bravest act there is.